guys, David here from Fytron Software. Today we're going to take a look at the QuickBooks integration that we just pushed. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of walkthrough on how it works, and let's get started. So here I am on the main website. You can either log into your business account if you're not logged in. I'm logged in, so I'm going to go up and click account here. So this is your business account. This is where you'll handle your payments or changing your passwords and things like that. You can also access your application from here. And now you have the QuickBooks Online Connect. It's an alpha phase, so basically that means we're in our first stage of testing with real users. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this. It's going to give you a rundown on what's going on, what happens. I'll kind of give an overview of what's going on here throughout our little walkthrough, but definitely read this. I will have the video I'm making now posted in here as well, so you can take a look at that. Some of these things are important to know, but I'll go through it as we go. So I'm going to go ahead and click connect. It's going to bring me to QuickBooks, and as you can see, it's asking to connect the Fytron accounting application to my company, Fytron Software LLC. You may have to log in to your QuickBooks Online here. So once you do that, you'll get this screen. So this is just asking you or telling you what everything is going to connect with and what data is going between the two. So I'm going to go ahead and click connect. It's going to bring us back to the business account page. So now, as you can see, we can disconnect at any point in time. Let's go take a look and see what happened in QuickBooks. Let me refresh this. So as you can see, we have 4 new products and services. We have EPA, labor, parts, shop supplies. They all have the Fytron tag on it in case that you already had these products and services. You're going to want to change the income account for these and maybe any other settings to make sure that's set up for when invoices start getting synced over. You also notice in the customer section, we have a walk-in that says Fytron in case you have another walk-in. QuickBooks Online has no concept of walk-ins, but Fytron does. So we have to make sure that there's a customer that's used in QuickBooks for our walk-in. Okay, so we're going to head over to the application. You can get there by accessing the app. I'm already here, so customers, I'm going to create a customer. All this information is fake, of course. So I'm going to do Jane Doe, and I'm going to put in random phone number. Company is going to be Jane's Machine Shop, and jane.doe@gmail.com. Whoops. Okay, address is 123 Deer Street in Santee, CA. Okay, no resale right now, and tax rate is still 0. Since this is an origin-based state, we're just going to use whatever's in the business settings, so we don't want to set that. So go ahead and save this customer. Okay, customer's now saved. Let's head over to estimates. Okay, so here we are in estimates. I'm going to create a new one, and I'm going to leave all this stuff pretty much default. I'm going to search for Jane. Here we are, add to invoice. As you can see, everything's filled out in here, just like normal. Let's go down here. I'm going to add a deposit. Say she brought in cash, and I'm going to add some parts here. I'm going to add some rod bearings and head plugs. This isn't going to be reflective of an actual job. It's just for example's sake. So I'll put some pricing in there. I'll also do the labor. Let's do okay. Say we brought into 6-cylinder and a cast iron. Let's do add those to the invoice. Okay, so we have 2 parts, 2 labor. Shipping and handling, let's just say that's $50. EPA, we're gonna charge $568. We're gonna just override whatever's in the default business settings. Shop supplies, we'll make that 10. let's go take a look and see what our settings are set to. So right now I don't even have any of those set right now, but we are taxing parts, labor, and shop supplies. So those are going to get applied on when we save this. Okay. So I'm going to save the estimate. As you can see, we have our parts and our labor, our deposit, product total, labor total, shipping and handling, taxes applied, EPA, shop supplies, deposit. And so here's the amount due, and this is if we didn't have the deposit, so the total of the. Okay, so we made an estimate. Since we don't have integration of estimates into QuickBooks, you won't see anything different in QuickBooks. But what we're going to do is we're going to say this job's going to happen, so I'm going to promote this. So this is going to get converted to an invoice. As you can see, estimate number 23 with invoice 9055. Okay, so here's where things start to get interesting. As you'll notice, since we moved that over to, since we created the customer Jane Doe, we now see Jane Doe in the customer area. Okay, so let's take a look at Jane. So it has the information we provided. You're going to see a number here after the first and last name or company name. And the reason is on how QuickBooks does their uniqueness. And so they make things unique by their name and not by a particular ID. So when we move things into QuickBooks, we have to make sure that if you have two Jane Does, that they're unique, right? We can't just add on non-unique things. So we add in their customer ID. So you will see that. We may change it to something else later, but at least for now, this will make sure that there's no conflicts and things will sync up correctly. Okay, so that should all be good. You can make changes to this customer here. Anything that's changed here, though, will not be reflected in Fytron. The reference will still be the same. So for example, if I wanted to change the customer here, change the name, that would no longer, it would still be Jane Doe in Fytron, but it would be whatever you set it to in here. If I went and resaved Jane Doe in Fytron, it would override whatever is here so long as I have the reference to here. So Fytron's like the ruler and QuickBooks Online is like the worker. Okay, so Fytron is basically saying, hey, do this. QuickBooks is saying, okay, it's just going to change it. Whatever you change in QuickBooks will be overridden if it's synced to Fytron. So if I have an older customer that's not synced, or if I have different customer in QuickBooks Online and I make changes to those, it's not going to matter. So just remember that anytime you click save on a customer or on an invoice, it's going to either create an instance in QuickBooks Online, it's going to update an existing instance in QuickBooks Online, or it's going to just override any changes in QuickBooks Online. So if I were to change this to let's see, I change this to John Doe. So I change this to John Doe, display name as John Doe. Okay, I'm gonna head over to invoices, go to customers, click Jane Doe, edit this, and I'm gonna resave it. Okay, so I'm gonna refresh this page now. As you can see, we're back to Jane Doe 16. So it overrides. This makes sure that what you're seeing in Fytron is correct within QuickBooks Online. So we recommend that if you need to make any sort of changes to QuickBooks Online that's synced to Fytron, do it in Fytron. So if I need to change the customer's name on QuickBooks Online, then just change it in Fytron. So I would edit this and I would change the first and last name. And then that would solve any issues that you have in regards to, I suppose, QuickBooks Online. So I just want to make you guys be aware of the overriding factor. So let's head over to invoices because we promoted the estimate. And so since it's an invoice now, you're going to see it in invoices on QuickBooks Online. So let's take a look at this. As you can see, it uses the customer reference that we have in there. The billing address, it just takes and puts whatever is in the address and either a company name and first name, it puts all those in here. Invoice number is taken straight from Fytron, so it's going to be the exact same. You're going to be able to, match things up if you need to. Let me move this over a little. As you can see, we have 4 line items. They will always be there even if there's 0. So the reason you want to set up your chart of accounts to map to these is because you're going to be charging amounts to them when you start to clear out these invoices. So as you can see, I'm going to dual screen this. So I'm going to move this over here and I'm going to move this over here. Okay, so let's go back to invoices. As you can see, Jane Doe. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down over on the right side. So here we are. Okay, so we have EPA 568, 568. We have labor 173.40. Yep. We have parts, which are 90. We have 90 here. We have shop supplies, which is 1010. Okay, so you're not going to see shipping on here. Shipping goes down here, right here. So that maps up to our shipping. And then as you can see, the tax here is 2461, which is correct. So if you see the math, you're going to see that's actually overridden with everything else. These sales tax amounts are what QuickBooks Online automatically calculates. And this will get really weird when you are a destination-based state, such as Nevada. What's going to happen is when you go to pay your sales tax through QuickBooks Online, it's going to use only these automated values that are crossed out. It doesn't take into consideration your overridden tax. And we have to do the overridden tax to make sure that things are correct. So if you go to pay your sales tax in QuickBooks Online, you have to make an adjustment. And so what you'll need to do is you'll need to head over to your dashboard. Okay, the only reason this looks a little different is because of the sizing differences here. So don't mind the difference of that. So close this. Okay, so I'm gonna head over to business. And so for a particular time period, I don't think I have anything in the last. So let's just say a yearly gross here. So well, there's no taxes charged yet. Okay, I don't have anything closed out. However, what you'll do is you will actually take this tax value, because this is what you charge your customers based on the Fytron invoices, and then you'll subtract what's being calculated in QuickBooks Online, and that will then be your adjustment that you'll use when you go to pay your sales tax for the month or quarter, yearly, however you end up doing it. So that's just kind of a caveat that you just need to know about. And so the last thing that we want to show is the deposit here. So the deposit goes in the deposit here. I'm hoping in the future that we'll actually turn those individual deposits that you put on the invoice into actual payments to the QuickBooks invoice, such as clicking receive payment, and that'll actually count as a deposit. So yeah, as you can see, everything maps up correctly as it should. The total here matches up to the total here. Same thing with the amount due, matches up to the balance due. And so that's all it is. Every time you save this invoice or I update it, it gets updated in QuickBooks Online. And so it's pretty fluid. You don't really have to worry about anything. Fytron will work as it does no matter what. If there's an error with QuickBooks, then QuickBooks will just not accept it. It may not be synced up, but it'll still exist in Fytron and there won't be any errors, or at least there shouldn't be at the time. We are in alpha, so there may be a couple bugs, so be sure to check your totals, your tax, and all of that good stuff. And if you have any questions, you can always contact us. You can You can email me through the suggestions. You can always call. Facebook works too. So the last thing that I do want to show is the business settings. So I'm going to leave that invoice. I didn't update it, but right here, this actually won't show when there's 0. I just made it show right now on purpose, so I could explain to you guys. I'm not sure when this will ever actually increment. It's kind of a safeguard for if maybe there was a bug in our system when we tried to sync up and there's a duplication of names or something weird like that, or maybe the QuickBooks Online service is down, so we couldn't sync up when you saved the invoice or saved the customer. So what this allows you to do is all you have to do is click it, and it's going to sync up everything that's not synced. So this little number will actually be, it'll be like 1 or 2 or 20. Hopefully it's nothing more than really 20, right? Because you want to make sure your things are getting synced up, and I'm sure you're going to know quite quickly if there's things not showing up. So that's pretty much the overview of what we have for the QuickBooks integration. It should be really, really seamless. We'll be continuing to add things as you guys may need them, but at a very basic step of preventing double entry, this will alleviate a lot of that. So all your invoices will get created, your customers will get created, and you can just continue to work as you move forward. So if I go to an older invoice and I actually edit it and then save it, it'll get populated in QuickBooks Online. Right now, we don't have a function that just takes all of your information and puts it into QuickBooks Online. Nor do we have a way that takes QuickBooks information and puts it into your system. At the very most, if we go from QuickBooks to Fytron, it'll just be the customers. There could be room for some inventory, but there's probably not going to be any invoice importing from QuickBooks to Fytron. But these are just some things to maybe look forward as we continue to expand this. I am really looking forward to you guys using it, letting me know how it's working, if there's other things that can be added that makes it more robust, just things like that. Just constant updates and progress to making this system work really well with QuickBooks Online. So those of you that do want to use it, it really makes things efficient for you. So yeah, just let me know if you guys have any questions, and yeah, I'm excited for you guys to start using it.